Welcome to Morning at NTV. She's the Executive Director at African Women and Girls Organization. Also, we're joined by John Bukenya. He is a survivor of suicide thoughts.
No.
You're not?
I'm a medical personnel trained in stress management.
So for you, from the Institute for Health, Education and Sustainable Living. Okay, apologies. You seem to have gotten an error there.
Yes.
Do apologies. Now, you're also from the Institute for Health, Education and Sustainable Living.
Yes.
And today we're going to be as real as possible, as Mala had said earlier. One of the things is that she said, as of last week, we do know that as Uganda, we're one of the happiest when it comes to being in East Africa, ranked second happiest. And that is based on how people perceive, as Ugandans, we perceive ourselves as happy. But when it comes to depression, it's on the rise within the country. What is happening? Why? Are we not being honest with ourselves? I'll start with you, a psychologist.
Thank you so much. First of all, we shall look at what depression is. Depression is a mood disorder, and it is caused by different situations. Sometimes, it is caused by, relationship challenges, then sometimes it is caused by generic or genetic vulnerability, then the drugs. So it is on the rise because of so many causes. And it is in two different, there are various types of depression. So when we look at depression, it is a very wide thing to talk about. It is endless, so we normally tackle it in a way that someone approaches us. Because you may be going through a different situation, I'm going through a different situation. So what is it that is making you unhappy? What is it that is eating you up? Is how we bring you up, or bring you back to life. Yes.
Life is, juggled up with a lot of, negative things. It's not an easy, smooth sail in life. And so someone would ask, how then do I identify that I'm actually depressed? Because maybe someone would say that I've just been unhappy of late, and maybe things are not just working for me. But how do we get to identify that now you're slipping into depressions? What are the signs and symptoms? You can start with you as we go to.
The symptoms or signs of depression are, should I call it a mood swing? Today you're clear, the next hour you're not clear. Then poor habits in eating, poor habits in sleeping, interaction with friends, it's on and off. Those are mainly the signs of depression. Yes.
Okay.
How about you, John Bukenya?
As my colleague has said, I'm Bukenya John. I'm trained in stress management in Thailand. I'm lucky to have got the exposure, the Asian training, just like my colleague. And for us, our approach is called Ayurvedic medicine. This is the Asian treatment in USA and Asia. My view on depression has a cause, and the cause is unpleasing environment. You cannot walk in here when you have been blessed, you are the new elected MD, you have been proposed to, a genuine wedding, your daughter has won an award, and then you tell us you're depressed. Because within your system, you're having cheerful hormone flowing through you. Cheerful hormone keeps on opening the channels of communication of the body, and the body behaves well. But the opposite of cheerful hormone is called cortisol hormone. This is a very stress hormone. Cortisol causes the wear and tear of the brain cells, putting your nervous system on tension and on twisting. The body doesn't work when it's on tension and twisting. It is just going to bring you conditions like mind forgetfulness. You keep forgetting small things. Mood swing, as she said. You have been happy now, and then in a few minutes you're sad. Then you again get happy, or you start feeling like that friend, people don't like me, some sort of stigma. At the end of the day, the signs of depression is just a stage to a permanent mental illness. But we are so lucky with our good experts in Uganda. We are very blessed that we have a national psychiatric referral hospital. Those people are doing a very powerful work. The same mental health clinic in Mulago. So And we have also counselors from the ground levels, your mother, your friend. But the challenge comes in when you shy away from people who should help you and you want to suffocate alone until when you become isolated. The next day we see you doing something very awkward when depression has busted into uncontrollable levels.
Now, when you talk about being in places that are unpleasant, one would say that the easiest way of dealing with depression is to get out of these places, right?
Yeah.
But it's more.
It's just like pretending a snake entered my house. I've looked for it, it's not there. Let me switch off the light to assume it's not there. So going to a bar, alcohol is a medicine, is an antidepressant, recognized, but it's hourly. The brain washes it away from your system and you get depressed again. So those are not permanent solutions to depression.
What are the permanent solutions to depression?
The main permanent solution, which is psychologically proven by, according to my commentaries here, and Professor David Omre Johnson, University of Massachusetts, is a clinical psychologist, and other scientists who have teamed up to look at stress. The US government has donated a lot of money to these researchers in prisons, because there are lots of suicide tendencies in prisons. Somebody was convicted wrongly. This person is suffering permanent depression. Depression has levels.
Okay.
There is day-to-day depression. Your traffic jam, motorcycles are messing with you. There's what you call deep-rooted. Somebody proposed to you, then changed his mind towards the wedding.
So what you're saying is that there are different solutions to the different levels of depression.
Yeah, but there is one permanent solution.
Okay.
To all.
To all.
This solution is called empowering the inner doctor. All of us here, we have inner doctor. The person who tells you that you're hungry, go and eat. You are satisfied, stop eating. If you continue, they will kill the tastes on the tongue and you lose the taste and leave. If you persevere, you will get this area called epiglottis excited and you tend to vomit. So that is the inner doctor who tells you now, enough is enough with the AC, switch it off. It's too much hot. Kind of go and swim. That inner doctor, in science, we call him the system of homeostasis and self-regulatory. He tells you that there is an itching thing here. If I tell you that something is itching me here, you will struggle to locate the place. But me, the owner, with my inner doctor, I will know.
Okay.
So the inner doctor needs rest. And we don't need any kind of rest. We need an orderly rest. The rest we are talking about here, we cannot get it during sleep. Reason being, we get dreams messing up our settled state of sleep. So we tame the mind. How? By using quiet time when the mind is trained. Close your eyes like you would close the house when you're going to sleep. Remove external attention and interference. We have seen this in the religious people, in the Catholics, nun, and so the Buddhists and so on. You close the external attention, they give you a mind diverter. Like you give a piece of chocolate to a crying baby. The baby, instead of crying, will think this is so sweet. The baby will stop crying and put attention on the chocolate. So they give us sounds. It's called sound therapy in Asia. They get some nice sounds from the gardens, from where they make them into therapeutic sounds. So the treatment is therapeutic sound to empower the inner doctor.
All right. Interesting.
Yes,
Interesting. Quiet time.
Quiet
What you
time.
take for granted.
Are you even having it in this busy Kampala? But when we talk about depression, as of last week, suicide. Yes, when it comes to the World Health Organization, they've said suicide is the second leading cause of death between people between 15 years and 29 years of age.
Yes.
So fighting is the quiet time. But does the quiet time help with fighting suicide? Because one would think, if I'm quiet, if maybe I have all these soothing sounds, can I shut out the negative things that are within me that are telling me you can't do this anymore, we need to give up on the world?
Yes.
Judith, you can take it.
Okay, please. What the time quiet time does is that body gets rest, and then mind also gets rest. And within this period, it is only 15 to 20 minutes. All the negative thoughts, all the fatigue, the stress, everything throws off. So you come back a better person with a better thinking, and then also, you feel so rested. You feel that at least there is that compassion, so that the negative thoughts are you know, yeah, maybe what I can say that you're a better decision maker. Yeah. So instead of suicide, you think of something else. Yeah, something, you know, you have a positive direction for life.
Is there an overdose to how much quiet time I can have? Because it's a 20
We train you on how you can do that. Yeah, you do 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the evening, and it is a live program. Yeah, because today you're depressed, tomorrow, you know, and the results for that depression that you've lived with for so very many years.
So it should be a lifestyle.
So it is not a lifestyle. Yeah.
It is not a lifestyle.
It's not a lifestyle.
Having that quiet time, should it be part of my everyday life?
Yeah, it is part of your...
So it's part of... It has to be part of my lifestyle.
routine.
Of my
It
routine.
is routine. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Mr. John,
Yes, please.
when we talk about suicide, depression, of course, suicide is the last resort whereby someone feels like this
Isolated
life,
and alone.
yes, was not meant for me, and so you think of taking your own life. But for a majority who, thank God, are watching us today, and us here on the table who have not gotten to that point, maybe we could have depression here and there. Now we're learning that, by the way, I'm not just being moody, but could be I'm sinking into a depression mode. How do we avoid it?
Okay.
For them who have not even gotten to that point, how do we avoid sinking into depression?
Yeah, just like the point which was made very beautiful. Why is quiet time important? The reason is the nature of life is rest and activity. We violate that principle. Look at her beautiful eyes. She's blinking every after 5 seconds, causing rest activity. Rest activity. Look at your legs. One leg down, one leg up. Rest and activity. When you put your 2 fingers on the nostril, when you breathe out, it's only one nostril which is working. One is resting, one is working. Rest and activity. Look at the menstruation cycle. Today this side of the ovary, the next month the other side. Because we violate that rest and activity principle, we end up over exhausting the body's reservoirs of energy and body's mechanisms of control of depression. So we are at a vulnerable stage of getting depression. But when you bless your body, like computers, you click on refresh, you cause a gigantic rearrangement of your entire body system up the DNA level. And this rest is what we are lacking in our system. You have seen some of our administrators in the country, they have overworked and they have got consequences of fatigue and overworking because of violation of rest and activity. So this can also be the cause. For suicide tendencies, somebody to commit suicide, it means there is no hope. I've been handling a suicide case in a certain university. The girl by mistake lost to be on the graduation list. So the girl wrote a letter and she said, I've died, I'm going to kill myself because so and so, the lecturer called so and so. We drove up to the university somewhere, we talked to the lecturer, and the lecturer, good enough, was so much afraid of this. He thought it's a small thing. At the end of the day, rectified the issue and the problem because there was no more hope. Suicide means you have no one who understands you. You only understand yourself.
So talk to the people who now have suicidal thoughts.
So those ones who...
Probably them that are watching us today. What's the first step?
The first step is visit a psychologist or a psychoanalyst.
If you can't afford one.
Judith right now.
If you can't afford one, then maybe it's someone in the rural areas.
Walking in Lagos Hospital, talk to any medical personnel. Let it be a nurse, they know antidepressant medicines. We have an antidepressant medicine, we don't prescribe on screen, but let me just comment. It's called imipramine. Imipramine, even if you are going on death row, once they give you that medicine, of course, for you to be depressed, in a junction where nerves are, there are people who carry messages on their head. They are called neurotransmitters, acetylcholine and noradrenaline. When you are stressed, those ones keep binding. They don't move. When they tell them carry the message, they don't. So these medicines excite the neurotransmitters. So messages start moving, you get thoughts and so on. Go and talk to a medical personnel. They can give you oral rehydration salt. This oral rehydration salt, Dalos, it has sodium and potassium. Those are the main mechanisms of sodium potassium pump to put the body to balance. So my first aid, go buy oral rehydration salt. It's not for diarrhea as people think. That's just being a class B scientist. Class A scientist knows that this oral rehydration salt restores the body's balance.
But the key message is do not prescribe this medicine.
Just walk to a medical personnel, whether it's of which grade. Tell him I'm depressed. He knows which method, which medicine. Because as I'm talking that you're depressed, you may be depressed in a style of being loud. So that is another medicine also, which calms you down, muscle relaxer. So the first step is walk to any medical personnel. He knows. Let it be a nurse, let it be a clinical officer. That person is going to help you, then write a referral. They will give a first aid, then write a referral.
All right. But then when we're talking about how if I am the one who's depressed, I'm having the suicidal thoughts, there are people that we live with. There are things I could even be saying each and every single day. Like you said, the girl who wrote a note. And our society will say, stop scaring us. You know, someone will even joke and say, take your life and we see if you're actually serious about it.
Right.
So bringing in the society that we live in, is Uganda actually embracing and looking at the fact that depression exists within our countries? Do you see the families as well, Judith, saying that there's maybe a child of mine who is depressed? Are they bringing children to you to talk to them?
Yes, they do. Yes, and we work closely with the mothers, because the first caretakers of families. So we work closely with mothers of all categories, whether single mothers, the ones that are married, to see that at least we save the children. Because it is, we get issues from mothers, especially children going to school. They feel maybe school is not the best thing they can do because they're not performing well. And this one alone creates some kind of depression or stress to the children. But we as mothers just take it for granted and push our kids. Your performance is not so good. You keep uttering all sorts of words, not knowing that maybe there is another way that you can handle this child, to see that at least you don't lead him or her to that state. This is why they always bring these children to us.
Right.
We work with schools, we work with women organizations, we work with hospitals. We've just completed a course at Butavika Hospital with the health workers, because they're going through very many challenges.
Ms. Judith, as we come to a close, we have 1 second to close this.
Yes.
Just pointers, how can parents go about identifying if their children are slipping into depression? Identifying your child, if your child is actually going in depression, how do we identify that?
There is a very big pointer. We call it I think John can explain that better. Yes.
So the main challenge, because this child is yours, you are friends. If you're not very aggressive, because if you're aggressive on your children, they will run away, identify with neighbors, to tell neighbors your problems. That's the number one mistake we make. They will identify with needs, or they will identify with screens. So look at your child every day. Create time to look at the child. Children are blessed with cheerful hormone. That's why when you slap them, they keep smiling, because they have cheerful hormone. When you see the child stops eating, the appetite has gone. You bring chocolate, the child is not eating. You bring rice, they're not eating. That's number one sign. But they're not sick in the medical when they carry out lab tests. When you see that the child becomes aggressive on others, keeps on looking for trouble.
And they were not like that.
They were not like that.
That's a pointer. Okay, the other thing? Those are the two major things.
And the other thing will be the child will identify, go alone in the gardens, be alone.
All right.
And then friends call her for play. The child won't play.
Okay, just one thing. There's clinical depression.
Yes.
How does someone do you go to a clinic to get diagnosed with clinical depression? What do you do?
That word was misused. There is no clinical depression. It's thoughts that generate clinical
depression.
When you get bad thoughts and negative thoughts, you put your nervous system on tension, you inhibit the movement of chemicals in the body, so it becomes clinical. But the problem comes from our thoughts and day-to-day stresses.
Wow, thank you so much for coming in studios. We've learned quite a bit, and I'm sure you at home have learned quite a bit. Let's help each other. Let's talk in case you actually realize that your friend is, acting in a different way. Just be inquisitive and find out what could be the problem. Let's save each other. Thank you so much, Ms. Judith Nasali, psychologist here in the country, and also Mr. John Bukenya, also another specialist and expert in matters psychology. Now we are linking to Mr. Stephen Bide. He is in Boyogere, just telling you how traffic looks like in that end. Stephen, take it away.
Yes, Mala, a very good morning to you once again, Mala. I'm coming to you live from Boyogere, and this is Chila Municipality. And this time round, for you who is coming from the city direction, as you can see, there is a lot of traffic congestion here, driving you from around Chireka and Banda areas connecting to this Boyogere Trading Center, and the alternative route for you would be going through the Nambole side. If you are able to reach the Chireka Trading Center, make sure that you branch off and connect to the Nambole Stadium side, because as you can see, there is at least a clear flow of traffic until you reach this point of Boyogere, where you'll be losing almost between 5 and 6 or 7 minutes before the traffic officer around this place lets you in. And the same applies to you who is heading towards the city center. As you can see, there is less congestion around this side branching off towards the Boyogere Stadium. It's clear for you as you connect towards the Chireka Trading Center. But even as you connect to Chireka, just know that a few meters from the Chireka Trading Center, as you drive towards the Chireka Market, that's where the congestion begins from. And this is partly because the road connecting from Chireka Trading Center driving towards the other side of Chinawataka is now closed off for some civil and engineering works happening there around the side of Chireka and the Mutungo Chinawataka side. And for you who is coming from the other side of Namugongo, if you know you're coming towards Nambole or Boyogere, this route, the road that you can see on the live pictures, that side is clear, because I also used it a few minutes ago. I could see that it's really okay for you who is coming from Namugongo side or Chaliwajara connecting to Boyogere here. And for you coming from the rest of the areas like Seta, Mukono, it's a long snake-like traffic jam driving you towards Boyogere. You'll be losing close to 1 hour coming from Mukono driving towards the Boyogere Trading Center. But the good thing is the traffic officers here at this point they stop vehicles coming from either the other side of Namugongo or coming from the city side, and for you keep driving either towards Nambole or towards the city direction, and then you'll be losing some less time there. But as you can see around the other side, across the road, there have been some people waiting for taxis, and for almost 10 minutes you stand there waiting for taxis to drive you towards the city center, and you can only be sure that after 10 minutes, that's when you'll be able to get those taxis. Other than that, I have to remind you that this is another day that you have to make sure that you have all the documents that allow you to operate or drive on the streets of Kampala, because at least police says they are stuck with so many vehicles and border borders at the police stations, because many of the riders and drivers are not possessing the required documents. So make sure before you drive, you have those documents like a driving permit, or your car is in good mechanical condition. Other than that, I wish you a safe journey wherever you're heading to. It's Stephen Mbide coming to you live from Boyogere with Joshua Mbazira, and now we take you to a commercial break on Morning at NTV. See you.
Local Government Internal Auditors Association invites all local government internal auditors to an annual seminar under the theme Value Addition and Quality Reporting, scheduled for the 27th of March to the 30th of March 2019 at the Century Hotels, Kamali Municipal Council. The guest of honor is the Honorable Rebecca Kadaga, Speaker of the Parliament of Uganda.
There are many problems in the world, and there are many people with solutions. These solutions do not come from far.
You don't need money to innovate. All you need is this.
There are many Ugandans who have dedicated time and resources to come up with different kinds of innovations. Is terrorism the biggest threat to mankind in the 21st century? Could this be the solution? For the dry spells killing farmers' spirit, here is another innovation. Every Monday, starting 1st April 2019, NTV brings you Innovation Nation, a feature showcasing new ideas and knowledge tailored to make life better.